How to use Gemini deep research to become the topical authority or the expert in almost any single subject. I'm going to show you how this free tool works and some ways that you can use this incredible research to create a blog post or even to create a podcast completely for free using other free tools directly from Google. You can see that I'm using my personal account because I want to show you that everybody has access to this tool. The first thing you're going to do is go to gemini.google.com. If you haven't made an account, I suggest you do so. And when you are introduced to this interface, I want you to select down on the Gemini dropdown. This allows you to access all of the models that you can access for free, which is a bit mind-blowing when you think how good they are. I want you to click on the deep research component here. This tool is extremely underutilized and it is going to change the way that you work, the way that you write, the way that you create really high quality content, even if you can't write that well. I'm going to ask Gemini about MCPs. MCPs are modal context protocol. This is the new way that you can add actions or different tools into a potential AI agent. Not that it matters, but it can be quite a complex subject and I want to learn more about it. I want to become somewhat of a topical authority and at least fake that I do know more about this. So I'm going to go to Gemini Deep Research. You can access it by clicking on here, or if you don't have that selected, make sure you've got Deep Research selected there, and then it'll be automatically selected by default. I'm going to say, I want to know more about modal context protocol, research what they are, explain it to me in a simple manner, and what are the implications of the AI space for MCPs in the future. Now, when you first hit enter, it's not going to start doing the research right away. It's understanding the context of your question, and it gives you a chance to amend its research plan if you want to. So here it says, Model Context Protocol Explained. So it's given a title of what the research is going to be about. And if you click on more, it shows you the steps it's going to take to research this. For example, it's understanding that search a simplified explanation of MCP, explore the potential future implications, find information on any recent developments, investigate potential benefits and drawbacks, look for discussions, identify organizations and research groups. So it's kind of taking your search or your question and expanding on that a lot more. If you want to edit the plan because you want to touch on a specific topic of it, or you want to kind of guide it on a specific way, you can click edit plan. You'll have to edit the plan that it'll give you, but I'm happy with that. I'm going to start research. And now we understand what it's trying to do. You can see the show thinking component here, and it's understanding the basics. It wants to understand the basics of MCP, exploring the future, and the next step in research. The beautiful thing about this tool that it doesn't just get the top result for what is MCP, for example, and distill that information for you right away. No, it understands that initial information, but then it goes deeper into couple of step approaches to really find even more interesting aspects that I wouldn't have thought of right away. You see, it's researching these 20 websites already and understanding its context and then doing some further research. This is something that would take potentially days, if not at least hours to do. So now it's understanding the recent progress highlighted. It's even doing more research now that it's understood that context. It's kind of done research, become more knowledgeable about this and gone, okay, now that I know about this topic a little bit more, what else should I research that's going to add value to the end result? Once it's finished the research, and that took about, a couple of minutes, and the length of how long the research takes is depending on the complexity of the topic at hand. So we can see now, let's read a little bit, understanding the model context protocol, a catalyst for future AI development. That makes a lot of sense. So MCP has rapidly emerged as a pivotal concept within artificial intelligence community. Perfect. And I can see, if I learn more, I can see where it got this information from. You see that deep within, almost hidden within the sentences are these little numbers, which are the references where it's getting that information. So if you want to verify if this information is actually correct and it hasn't just hallucinated, which some models do, by the way, you can see, okay, so it kind of made this statement. Where did it get that information from? Let's see that in hand and go to that and make sure that it's just not making things up. And that is in fact a good resource. This is already kind of a really good explanation that I wouldn't have thought of. Conceptualized as the USB-C port of AI applications. I really like that. I'm probably going to use that a lot more. The future implications are for the AI space, recent developments. Now, I've got this incredible research. I've got even some tables explaining this in a bit more detail. Whenever you do see tables, it's got this really cool feature. I don't know how useful it is, but you can export the little table to sheets. You can see it's creating a spreadsheet at the moment, and it should come up in a brand new tab when I select Open Sheets. Now, to make full advantage of this, if you are asking it to do research, maybe on a certain market, or I don't know, you want to see what business might be best to invest in, or whatever that is, you can ask it within the prompt, but within the first search, within the first question, to, in the research, please place the data within a table that I can look at, and it will do that for you. Then you can export it to Google Sheets. Let's go down a little bit more. It's very complex, very detailed here. It's done a conclusion, and then it tells me all of the sources that it used in the report. And I think there are more than 70 that it's used. Interestingly, there's also says sources read but not used in the report, meaning it's read these because it thought that it needed to learn more, but it didn't need it to add those sources into the report. I really like this, and you can even understand its whole thought process into what it did to create the report. Now, one of the features that I love about this is that you can export to docs, and you can even copy the contents or generate an audio overview. This is really, really cool. If we click generate an audio overview, it's going to take a little while, but it's going to create a podcast out of this. This is fantastic. If you're not so much a kind of visual learner, if you're an audio learner, if you want to maybe go outside or while you're driving, you listen to this as a podcast setting, it can be such a useful tool. I'm going to pause the video and come back when the audio is finished so I can show you what that sounds like. Now, with the overview finished, let's go see what this sounds like.
Okay, so for this deep dive, we're going to be taking a look at something called the Model Context Protocol.
MCP.
MCP, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is all about basically making it way easier for AI models to connect to all the stuff that, that we use every day.
Right, like all your data.
Like all your data.
All your tools.
So that the information
So for those of you who are familiar with Google Notebook LM and its feature to turn this into a podcast, it's the same two speakers there. I just find this very, very useful. You can download this, put it into SoundCloud if you want, and then listen to it later. You can also put this on 1.5 mode.
You get back from AI is much more relevant, and
I just think it's such a great, useful tool to be able to kind of get into a topic a little bit deeper. If you've got the Gemini app on your phone, I've got it here with me, you'll see that you'll get notifications whenever the research is done or whenever the overview is done. So you can do the research, go make yourself a sandwich, whatever you want. And when it's done, you'll get these nice little notifications on your phone. Nice little good feature as well. Now, one of my favorite features is to be able to download this into docs. So I can copy contents overall, but I'm going to export to docs. And now this is a lot more malleable, meaning that you can do a lot more with this now that it's in the docs. And you can see that it's kind of very similar to how it was before. The tables are made correctly and everything like that. I'm going to download this. And the first use case is, well, how do I turn this somewhat of a complex topic into an easy to read blog post that maybe I can use on my website? I'm going to go to Gemini. So how would I then, now that I've got the audio overview and I've got the copy of the research in a doc, how do I then create a blog post out of it? We're going to continue in the Gemini ecosystem. It'd be good if I can change the model to 2.5 Pro, because that writes really well actually in this conversation. But you can see that as soon as I switch to 2.5 Pro, it starts a brand new conversation, and what I had there I don't have access to. However, if you do just go to Gemini 2.0 Flash, you can ask subsequent questions of that. But personally, I don't think 2.0 Flash writes the best. I'm very picky though. So I'm going to start a brand new chat. I'm going to select 2.5 Pro, which is the smartest model ever. And it might be overkill to use this as a content copywriter, but hey, it's free. I've got access to it, and I think it writes pretty well. So I've got now the downloaded doc file into here, and I'm going to say, please generate this into an easy to read blog post. It needs to be at least 1,500 words in length. The tone needs to be relaxed. Don't use too many fluff words. Get straight to the point. And yeah, let's see what the outcome is. Now I'm turning this into a 1,500 word blog post. You can see it's thinking, and let's read kind of the first sentence and see if I'm happy with it. Unpacking the model context protocol, a new universal connector. Artificial intelligence, particular large language model, has made incredible strides, but they often hit a wall. They typically suck with the knowledge they were trained on and struggle on interacting smoothly with outside real world time tools. Yep. And then you see here that it's linking to some of the research provided. I told it to do that. I placed that into the prompt. If you want access to the prompt, I'll just leave it below. Can be completely free. I don't mind. But it's written a really nice blog post in a matter of seconds. I really like it. Now, you can see that I'm not using the Canvas feature. I've done a whole other video on that. Canvas Gemini is really good, but that's because I've got 2.5 Pro experimental selected. Now, I've done a video before of how Gemini, Deep Research, and Claude make an incredible research buddy couple. But for now, we're going to stick to this. I've created a fairly good blog post. I can even kind of copy this whole thing because I am out of free Gemini Advanced 2.5 chats. I can just go to Flash. I can go to the Canvas feature, copy it, and I can just ask it to help me improve the blog post that I've just copied. Make sure you got Canvas selected. I'm going to hit that, and in a second it should open the feature for Canvas, and now we can write with this. Now I've selected the best models that I like for writing, and now I can just use the Canvas feature to improve and personalize the blog post a little bit better. Not a bad tool at all. Now, here's another thing that you can use within the kind of Gemini ecosystem or the Google ecosystem. I've got this incredible research. I can now go to Google Notebook LM. If you haven't used this tool, it's incredible. I've done a couple of videos about it. You can create a new notebook, and I can insert the Google Drive documents. I can just copy and paste if I want as well, the file that I just generated, but I'm going to go to Google Docs and I'm going to find the item that I just selected. It's this one here, Model Context Protocol. I'm going to insert it. And now the thing here is that any research I do about AI or model context protocol, I can inject into here. Even if I've got one deep research a day, every day I can do a new research component and place it into Notebook LM. And I can now ask it all questions about this. For example, simply explain MCP. And it will give me that because it's got access to the contextual resources that are provided below. If I want as well, I can create briefing docs, study guides, and a bunch of other things that I want, but this isn't a video on Notebook LM. I just want to show you the capabilities that you have with deep research, taking that research elsewhere. Let's just have a look at the study guide really quickly. I've got a quiz all of a sudden. That's going to be a tricky quiz. I can use more features here like create a timeline, a briefing doc, FAQ, and generate more podcasts that I did before. I can even customize it I can tell them to focus on a different or certain aspect of MCPs, for example. And that is it. Google doesn't specify how many deep researches you get a day. At least in my Google business account, I haven't run out, and I've used it sometimes 10 times per day, and I haven't run out. Extremely useful tool, very good for practically any work that you do. If it requires any type of research like SEO content writing or whatever that might be, really useful tool. If I've missed anything that deep research can do, please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to know how you're using this tool. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.